Food Made Better. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my chicken pot pie. It's super simple, really delicious, and it's going to be your family's new favorite dinner or lunch recipe. This recipe also works very well for leftovers. It'll last in the fridge for up to 5 days, or you can even freeze it and just let it thaw out and then just reheat it in the oven when you're ready, so that way you get that perfect crisp back on your crust. Alright, well if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go! First step in this recipe, you're going to want to take your butter and you're going to want to put it into a pot. Make sure your pot is big enough because we are going to be adding in all the other ingredients into one pan. Eventually it'll all be in there and it'll all be cooking together, so you want to make sure you have a big enough pan. Alright, when your butter gets melted completely, we're going to want to then add in our onions and our garlic. We're going to let that cook for about 2 minutes, just until it starts to get fragrant, and then we'll be on to the next step. What are you doing? Jelly beans need to go in Mommy's baking pans. Oh great, thank you. I have also already went ahead and gotten my pie pan out. I've taken my pie crust out of the fridge and I've gotten it back to room temperature. I did take one of the 9-inch rounds and I went ahead and put it inside of my pie pan. I did spray the bottom of the pan first with nonstick, so that way the pie crust would not stick and it'll just slide right out after baking. You're also going to want to make sure that you get your oven preheated to 425 degrees. Now our onions have been cooking for about 2 minutes. It's going to be time to move on to the next step, which is we're going to be adding in our flour. And then we're also going to be adding in a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. This is to taste, so I normally do about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. Sorry guys, my tripod's broken, so I'm having to handhold all this camera gear and stuff. Alright, let's get some pepper in there. Okay, now we're going to want to use a whisk, and then we're going to whisk this together. Cook for about a minute. Okay, now we're going to want to gradually add in our milk and our chicken broth. Then we're going to want to use our whisk again and stir them together. We're going to want to let these cook and keep stirring until it starts to thicken. It's nice and thickened now. It's kind of like gravy. So now we're going to add in our chicken and our frozen vegetables. Now when it comes to the vegetable mix, I could only find like a spring mix, and then I added in some frozen hash browns because I like the potatoes in my chicken pot pie. So we're going to go ahead and throw those in there. And then we're also going to be adding in some chicken, stir it on up. After you get this all stirred up, we're going to be moving on to pouring it into our pie crust. Now we're ready to add in our chicken pot pie mix into our crust. We're going to want to take our other pie crust. Alright, so you're going to put it in there, kind of push it around the edge, like so. Okay. You want to make sure you get those two pie crusts mended together. That's why we push on it. You don't want to push too hard, but just hard enough. Take a fork, and I'm going to trim some of this off. So like the excess that hangs over right here, we're going to go ahead and trim that off. Get rid of that. And then the excess around the sides, just literally take your knife and run it along the side of the bowl. Pretty easy peasy. Okay, this side, same thing. Run it along the edges of the bowl. Okay. Then like this. If you don't have a steady hand, it's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna taste delicious. People are gonna be like, where did you buy this? All right, now we're gonna take a fork and we're just going to crimp the edges. Just literally push down on it. We're going to want to cut some slits on top of the pie. To do that, you just take your knife again, and let's say we'll do four slits. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Doesn't have to be perfect. You are gonna wanna put this in your 425-degree oven. Let it bake for about 30 to 40 minutes. The last 15 to 20 minutes, you're gonna wanna take it out of the oven, pause your timer, and take some aluminum foil and just cover it, or just the edges. You know, if the top needs to be a little bit more golden brown, just do the edges. And then pop it back into the oven for the remaining 15 to 20 minutes. Get it baked, and then we'll be back. See you then. And our pot pie just came out of the oven. It took roughly 40 minutes. I did cover the edges with aluminum foil. They're nice and golden brown. Another telltale sign that you know it's done is the side right here will be bubbly. You see how it's bubbling up? That's how you know that all the vegetables and everything inside of it have been nicely cooked and steamed. They will not be hard. They'll be nice and tender and soft. I do recommend that you let this sit for probably about 15 minutes before you try to serve it. It's going to be very hot even after the 15 minutes, but that still allows these juices that are bubbling to cool down a little bit and thicken. Well, I hope that all of you like this recipe as much as me and my family do. Feel free to substitute the chicken for turkey if you like. The turkey version is just as delicious. If you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment down below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we do release new recipe how-to videos every week. If you like this video, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.